Hey everyone, welcome to Garden Fork Radio. Rick?
Oh, usually you say you're here with Rick and Eric.
Oh, but, sorry, I haven't done this
okay.
in so long.
Yeah, I was waiting. It's been a long time, my friend. I guess it has been a while.
Yeah, we had the Christmas holiday, I guess we'd call it. The Christmas break.
New Year's. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you.
That's kind of a greeting that you can keep using almost through January, and it makes people smile.
Oh, yeah. Just Happy New Year.
I went to see my friend Bill where my honeybees are, and he also has this maple syrup shack. And the first thing out of his mouth is, Happy New Year, Eric. Are we going to drink a Budweiser today? I said, yes, we are. And so at noon, I'm like, okay, we got to drink beer at noon.
Oh. Well, I've been busy regrouping for the new year. What about you?
I've been working on my house and making some Garden Fork videos and trying to stay warm. So Christmas Day was incredibly warm enough that we made a video about checking on the bees, and then like most of the country, the temperature plunged, and it's 12 degrees outside. It was like 7 when I woke up this morning. Yeah,
I walked over to where the bees were, and on Christmas Day, just to kind of wish them a Merry Christmas, not individually, of course, but just as a group, and they were out flying about and doing a little cleansing flight, and actually probably had not really gone into cluster.
Interesting.
Yeah, they had thrown out all the men though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the drones were frozen on the ground, and there've been apparently some last minute begging to get back in, and they just turned them away.
We actually just posted on our DIY YouTube channel the video about checking the bees on Christmas Day. And there's a shot I did of the lower entrance of the hive, and I didn't point it out, but you can see there are 2 workers rolling out a drone out of the hive.
Poor guys.
So there they go.
Yeah,
so
their life is good until it's not so good.
Yeah.
And then it gets bad very quickly.
Yeah, go out. Today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about bread, a new kind of bread I'm making, and a person in LA that is grinding their own flour and selling it to people, and SpaceX launching some rockets, and then some preparation for maple syrup going on.
Okay.
Do you have anything to add, Rick?
Not really. Yeah, I have to admit, all I do during the winter is huddle next to the fire and wait for spring.
Well, we did get some seed catalogs.
You bet. I've been going through my seed catalogs, and I'm thinking about getting some starts going.
I asked on Facebook and Instagram what people thought about starting sunflower seeds in little transplantable seed starting trays.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always been, a lot of books say that you have to direct seed sunflowers, you can't transplant them. And I thought, well, I'm going to try that. And so it was like 50-50 the answers I got. Some people said, yeah, I do that.
Eric, you're breaking up there. You just buzzed out completely.
Am I back?
You're back now.
Oh, sorry. But the answers I got were kind of 50-50. And I'm going to try and grow some sunflower seeds in seed starting pots and transplant them and see what happens.
Okay. Why would you want to transplant them? They grow like weeds anyway.
We have a shorter season here, and I'm kind of I'm in a fishbowl, so the sun really doesn't hit my garden sometimes until like 10 in the morning, direct sun.
Well, one thing I learned this last year about sunflowers is plan well in advance for support. Yes. I didn't do that, and they were all over the ground every time it rained.
Yeah, they get kind of leggy there.
Yeah. Oh no, real leggy. I had some of the giant sunflowers,
mm-hmm.
and they were up to the eaves of the house. And boy, every time it rained, they'd bend over, and then they blocked the way of the gate, and you didn't want to run over them with the mower and that kind of thing.
Cool. So I have discovered a new kind of bread baking, which is really quite old, of course. It's called batter bread. And they call it batter bread because the bread dough is so wet, the hydration level is so high, that it kind of pours into the loaf pan like a cake batter rather than a like a glob of, you know, kneaded dough.
Oh, really? Where'd you get this idea?
Um, I found it on the Fleischmann's Yeast site, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a one of their food bloggers wrote about it, and it also ends up that the Cooks Illustrated people wrote a recipe and article about it earlier this year as well, and they had some techniques that kind of helped it along. But you can basically make this bread in about 2 hours, and you don't have to start the fermentation the night before or anything. It's not like the no-knead breads or the artisan breads where you have to start it ahead of time.
Right.
So it's basically uses a lot of water, a lot of flour, and a bit more yeast than you would normally do. But you essentially beat it quite a bit to create the gluten rather than letting the rise create the gluten. And then you dump it into a loaf pan, and you've got a pretty good sandwich loaf.
Eric, you're fuzzing out again.
Oh, I sound fine on my end.
So you were beating the bread.
Right, so you use a standing mixer for this, and I'm going to try it today just using a wooden spoon in a bowl and see if that's okay, because not everyone has a standing mixer.
Yeah, you'll have great forearms.
Yeah, I have luckily my mother-in-law gave me a standing mixer, one of those big KitchenAid ones, and I actually don't use it a whole lot, but this was a perfect use for it. And the Cooks Illustrated people, I don't know if they invented this or whether they just, from research found it out, but there are 2 short 20-minute rises. The first one is in the mixer bowl. The second rise is in the loaf pan. And we made a video about it. My sister was here, and we made a video about it. And my second rise, I overproofed it. I let it rise too much, and so it kind of fell over on itself a little bit. But I baked it up anyway, and it was really tasty.
Wow. Okay.
And my mission in the bread world has been to incorporate more whole wheat flour into that. And I had about 1/3 whole wheat flour, and it was a pretty darn good sandwich loaf, I thought.
Yeah. Pretty soon you're just going to have cardboard.
No, well, that kind of segues into our next topic here, but I think 100% whole wheat bread made with whole wheat flour from your grocery store is going to be probably a brick.
Yeah, probably it is. I have tried that, and it doesn't come out very well.
But here's the thing. Root Simple, which is another podcast which I listened to, had Nan Kohler on. And she has a very interesting story. It's a nice interview they did with her. It was Eric from Root Simple just interviewed her at her shop. And she is grinding her own flours and selling them. She has a retail store and a online business as well. And she literally has one of those giant stone mills. It's run electric, has a motor on it instead of like a windmill. But she's milling wheat. Mm-hmm. And she's milling I wouldn't call them specialty wheats, but perhaps the word is heirloom wheats.
Right. Yeah.
And with these kind of wheat flours, they are able to make a whole wheat flour that doesn't taste like a brick.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Part of, I use King Arthur flour, and I think it's very good. But even they, I think, are kind of compelled to have this kind of homogenized whole wheat flour so it'll sell in the grocery store.
Sure.
And I'm kind of glossing over some of the finer details of the interview. We'll link to the interview here. Or just look for Root Simple podcast, and it'll show up.
Right.
But they basically talked about using these different wheats that are including different parts of the grain, and that helps make it less of a brick, which was nice.
I have tried that with what is that specialty brand? Bob's Red Mill. Mm-hmm. And his you can buy one of his whole wheats that's just pure whole wheat, and it just makes a brick. You have to mix it with something else.
All right. Well, we'll have to experiment and see. I'm sure there's some bread bakers listening. The other point that they brought up in this interview was they were talking about the tartine bread method of where you have a starter that you keep and then you make your own leavener from that. And some of these whole grain flours that they are doing a very long and slow fermentation on
Mm-hmm.
may be uh, less. I don't know how to say this. For people that have a gluten intolerance, these breads may be a partial answer to not being able to eat bread. So they were saying, and I can't really put it in my words, but it made it sound like these using these specialty grains, and you're not like over processing it. That it might be that gluten intolerant people might be able to bake breads out of these flours and be able to eat them.
Huh.
Because I think maybe part of the gluten intolerance is because we've milled the flour down to nothing but the white part, you know?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And this is pure speculation on my point, but the long fermentation combined with the whole grain may reduce or eliminate some of that gluten intolerance.
Yeah. Well, now, have they done anything about just getting bigger the more bread you eat? Because that's my problem.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem. I like to eat it, you know?
Oh yeah, I make a loaf of bread and I'll eat between the two of us we'll eat the thing in a day.
Yeah.
Um, Not real big loaves, but still, you got to be careful with that.
I know. So anyway, that's my. I'm going to actually work on a batter bread today. I also made banana bread yesterday. That'll be in a video coming out. But it's a coconut banana bread. My neighbor gave me a loaf, and I was like, wow, I really like the coconut in here. So I kind of cooked up my own version of it.
I only have one food prejudice in the entire world, and it's coconut.
People are like that, yeah.
Isn't that strange? But then again, I was born and raised in the South, and if someone served me something with coconut on it, I would eat it.
Yeah.
I would choke it down because that's the way you do.
Yeah.
But I've for some reason coconut I've never liked it.
It's okay.
No.
But you like rockets, right?
I love rockets, and SpaceX has been doing some great stuff lately.
I've never met Elon Musk, but I like what he's doing.
You bet.
And it's not just him, obviously, but he's the vision, and he's also a big part of the bankroll. He was one of the founders of PayPal, and he sold that and started his electric car company and his rocket company. And I think he may have burned through most of his money now with both those companies, but those companies are doing much better now.
Right.
Sorry. So SpaceX has a contract with NASA to deliver supplies to the International Space Station. I think the eventual is that they're going to be shuttling astronauts in the SpaceX capsule. Is that what I'm reading right?
I think eventually, yeah. But right now the Russians are sending up all the cosmonauts and astronauts.
Yeah, and that's a bumpy, expensive ride.
Yeah, it's a real expensive ride, that's for sure.
So what they've been doing in trying to cut down the cost of these rocket launches is SpaceX has been trying to recover is it the first stage of the rocket?
Yes, the main one that goes up. They actually have this rocket. It's I have seen videos of them doing this, getting it to go up, launch, and then actually maneuver itself and land back on the ground. And they got really close this time.
Yeah, this time they did it in a real-time scenario where they had a payload that was going to the space station, and after the first stage detached from the payload capsule, they turned it around and tried to land it on a barge in the Atlantic. And the barge was 300 feet wide by I think 170 feet wide. And Elon Musk's Twitter thing was close but no cigar. But that's pretty amazing.
Can you imagine trying to hit something like that from low Earth orbit?
Yeah, it's floating. So it's floating in the water. So they couldn't do it on land, I guess, because of too potential for the thing to go awry and go near a city or something. But imagine trying to, the barge is moving in the water. It was amazing, and they got very, very close. So they're thinking that in the next couple tries they'll nail this thing. But that would save an enormous amount of money for every launch.
Yeah, if they could reuse it and not have to. Of course, NASA has been retrieving first stages of some of the Atlas rockets and stuff, and but they land in the ocean and they have to deal with all the saltwater corrosion and that kind of thing. So This way, it saves all that refurb.
Yeah, you've got these brand new rocket engines that have fired once, you know?
Yeah.
There you go. So I thought that was pretty cool. Sorry, my mouth is going dry here.
Oh dear, you need a drink of water?
No, I'll tough it out, Rick.
Okay. Well, I'm just, I'm sitting here sipping coffee listening to you.
I actually have some coffee, but because it has the milk in it, it makes my throat, I can't talk very well.
Okay. Well, see, there, I got a little choked up. We had Bill Gates drank a glass of water made from poop.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, no, we do it all the time. Not that directly. Of course, they do it on the space station as well.
Yeah, Bill Gates, through his foundation, has funded a machine that will take human solid waste and extract the water out of it for purified drinking water. And the machine, there's a picture of him I saw on NPR's site, and it looks like the size of a very large refrigerator, this machine, and then he's drinking a glass of water from it. And the idea is to send this to developing countries that have sanitation issues and clean water issues, and it kind of kills two birds with one stone. And I thought that was pretty neat that he funded that thing.
Sure. And, in truth, we've been recycling wastewater for a long time. That's what wastewater treatment plants are all about. And, there's hardly a drop of water that we drink that probably wasn't dinosaur pee at some time.
I like that.
Yeah.
So my hats off to Elon Musk and the SpaceX people. I thought that was pretty neat that they got very close, and that's cool.
Yeah.
One last thing, I just because I did have a New Year's toast with Bill, my neighbor, who does maple syrup, and that's where I was inspired to start tapping my trees and boiling sap. I was starting to get ready to tap our trees, would tap them in late February, but I've got I pretty much got the system figured out this year. I'm going to build this evaporator out of a metal filing cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw Bill the other day, I had my little audio recorder with me, my little H1 recorder, and we talked about maple syrup. And it's kind of a little bit of a rambling conversation, but I did record it, and I'm going to post it as a episode of the podcast, and you can listen to it or not. It's just it's unfiltered Bill, who is he's just an amazing guy. So.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it kind of wanders a bit, but but he he knew the microphone was on, and he's pretty radio friendly. I didn't have to edit him, so.
Oh, he's not like Rick.
Well, he just knew the microphone was on, so
yeah. Rick has been better.
Yeah, he has. That's great. So cool. We have a bunch of viewer mail to read, but I don't have it on this computer, unfortunately. But we've gotten some really nice emails lately. It's been great to hear from people. I got a little Christmas gift from John C. He sent these baking oven mitts, these like red silicone oven mitts, which is in our Happy Holiday video.
Right.
And it was just very nice. And yeah, Nate sent us a Christmas card, so it's all good.
It's all good. Well, I've got things I need to get done today. I'll probably go down and huddle in front of the fire at the at the Starbucks or something. But I'm kind of getting enthused. It's bright and sunshiny today. I want to get out and do some things because tomorrow it's about 90% chance of rain.
Yeah, it's going to snow up here. So.
Snow. That's even worse, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, Rick.
We did all that long military thing, and we pretty much avoided all the cold places. I did one tour very early in my career in Misawa, Japan, way up in the northern part of the Honshu Island, the main island, and 184 inches of snow a year. And I swore I'd never do that again. And I pretty much stick to the tropics.
Good for you, sir. All right, everyone. So if you would tell your friends about the show, podcasting seems to have a resurgence. And if you want to share this very eclectic podcast with your friends, that would be great. And think about our sponsors. If you need to go shopping, you can shop at Amazon or Home Depot with the links that are provided within this podcast. And we get a little finder's fee. That's always great, too. All right?
You bet. Okay. Well, we'll see you later, my friend. Talk to you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Garden Fork's theme music is used under license from uniquetracks.com.